Welcome to the Head Guide podcast. This podcast has been sponsored by Mahaba, the #1 destination guide here in Qatar. Pick up your copy in any supermarket or go online to find out any information that you need for Qatar, where the best schools are, supermarkets, hospitals, etc., etc. Pick up your copy. It's been going for about 20 years. So my special guest today is Henrik Christiansen. How are you, Henrik?
I'm fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. I know it's been, I thought I had you one time and then it's just like, no.
You know, that's the terms of my life right now, to be completely honest. It is changing every day.
Yeah.
The girls in the office said all day today, you're not cancelling, you're not changing, you're not cancelling, you're not changing. I said, no.
No, and that's what I felt. Is there specific times of the day? Do you see a pattern that occurs when, things get hectic or?
To be completely honest, if we had this at 5 o'clock in the morning, we could have chosen any morning in the week.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm up at 3:30 every morning. So
4 o'clock man myself.
Really?
Yep. I got a 2-year-old son.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Axel. And we play and have fun and do what we need to do as a father and son from 4:30 till 7. That's our time. When I come home from work, he's gone. He's gone to bed.
Yeah.
So that's my time with him.
Is he a good sleeper?
He's a very good sleeper, yeah.
Is this your first?
It is my first with his wife.
Oh. Okay, can we go down there or?
Absolutely. No. We can go anywhere.
Okay.
Can go anywhere.
Oh,
Yes.
Okay. So how many children have you got altogether?
I got another 2.
Okay.
We got a boy and a girl. Or as they say, a young man and a young woman. So
Aged?
My son is 31 and my daughter is 26.
You don't look old enough.
I had them very young. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. No. Absolutely lovely people, lovely kids. And they will always be your kids, right? No matter how old they are.
Absolutely.
It used to be, especially with my son, whose name is Alexander. We call him Alex. So when I got another son, we call him Axel, which was a little bit confusing in the beginning for me, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But fantastic guy, and I'm very proud of him. He's done very well at, school, university, and all those kind of things. And I have a fantastic job today. And I normally was giving him career advice, and now he's a guy that sometimes I can get a little bit of advice from as well. So he worked for one of the big fours, and he's been stationed in different places. Right now he's in KL for 2 years, working there. So very nice. And my daughter is more like a mother's daughter, so she stays at home close to her, and we still have a decent relationship.
Yeah. And what was it like doing it the second time? Because I've been there, so
completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Completely different. I was a kid when I had the first 2.
Yeah.
I was a kid. Mentally, we men, we grow older very late.
Absolutely.
We bloom late.
Absolutely.
And I was ready, but I was not paying the attention that I'm doing today. I am taking every minute I can out of it, the day that being with my son.
And it was interesting that you said you get up at 4 o'clock. Have you had a morning routine? Is that something?
Always.
So you were always up quite early?
Yeah.
When did that start? When did you?
As far as I remember back, I never really slept much.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's supposed to be bad for your health, but
yes.
5 hours. Now I'm pushing it. I'm doing 6 hours a night.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we up early and we have our fun and we play and he's 2 years now, which is a fantastic age. He started, challenging me, trying to run around now, and we have a really good relationship.
And is he a good sleeper?
He's a good sleeper. Yeah, he is. Yeah, especially when he'd be allowed to come into the big bed, sleeping next to mommy. Then he's a very good sleeper.
Absolutely. So, yeah. Being next to mum.
Oh, it's
the best.
She's a little bit jealous right now because I can see that he's kind of understanding who I am as a dad and my role in the relationship. Every time there's any issues, any concerns, anybody hit a knee or whatever, it's back to mom every single time.
No, I asked about the morning routine. All right, you don't sleep you don't sleep very long,
No.
but when you woke up in the morning, was there a routine that you kind of had?
Yes.
To look after yourself? Was that mainly to look after yourself, or was that just, work-wise, or?
It's been a little bit back and forth, typically. So in periods of time, It was to look after myself. I went to the gym, or I went for long walks. But depending on when kind of you get into different jobs and get more and more responsibility, I think more clearly. I'm more active in the morning. So I get my emails done. I get everything done before 7 o'clock. Now, of course, with little one, it's a little bit more different. But I still squeeze a few emails out before. And it's not because I want my colleagues to answer those emails at that time of day. But this is where I get my ideas. This is where I follow up on things. This is where I remember things from the night before. If they write an email to me, which they do, at 10 o'clock in the evening before, I do not reply. So that's kind of my rhythm.
Well, that was going to be my next question. How do you balance that, being up very early in the morning and then the way business is done over here and how people go on into the night?
Yeah.
How do you balance that?
I think initially, so I've been here 18 years now in the region. And initially it was a little bit tricky because my colleagues, especially my line managers, my bosses, my chairmen and so on, they tend to work evenings and early nights. And initially, they call me at 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, and I don't answer, and they don't understand that. A few times I tried to call back at 4 o'clock in the morning, and they don't answer. But no, they've always been a good sport about that. I've been very honest about it. After 10 o'clock, I rarely take a phone call. Not because I don't want to. My phone is packed away and it's on charge or whatever, and I spend a little bit of time with my wife, and we're trying to have some time as well. I work till late, so we need to find some time for each other as well. If the time in the morning is mainly with my son, but also with my wife, of course, it's mainly in the evening we can have a little bit of time to each other.
So there wasn't any kind of friction because you weren't, playing to the game?
No.
Okay.
I never felt that.
Okay.
And I have to say, in the job I'm having now with the people I'm working with now, they're extremely active. Extremely active. I think they work 24/7.
Oh wow!
I don't think they sleep at all. And there's never been any issues. I get emails, so I reply to them at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's fine. 5 o'clock, and things get done.
Yeah.
So I never had any comments on that. So I have never felt guilty of not replying to an email at 10 o'clock at night.
Okay. I want to go back to your life as a little boy. Whereabouts because you are Danish, you come from Denmark. Whereabouts in Denmark are you actually from?
Born in Copenhagen, but moved to the other side of Denmark. Aarhus is kind of the mainland that's sticked to Germany, and I lived there for the first 14 years of my life.
And what was that like growing up?
That's kind of the countryside.
Okay.
So
you were a country boy?
I was a country boy next to a farm, very, very small village. I was very fortunate, I think. My dad was a worker with ships, and he had an accident. That wasn't why I was fortunate, and that meant he couldn't actually work with ships anymore. So he had to go back into shore, and he got a job which he really liked, was in construction. And with a very short time, him and a colleague of him started their own business.
All right.
And actually built what seemed to be one of the larger construction companies in Denmark. So I got that when I was 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Breakfast was work.
Yeah.
We talked about business. I probably more listened in the beginning, but very, very early on, it was part of the conversation.
Did your dad, did he have any kind of entrepreneurial kind of bone in his body before that? Was there...
He's always been a wheeling and dealing man.
Oh, really? So even though he had
always made a good deal, always understood how to make money.
Yeah.
The right way. Loved playing cards, that kind of person. Left school at 12 years old.
Oh, wow.
Went out to the Seven Seas at the at 14, and then met my mother, and then came back in, and the accident happened, and he had to stay inland and build his business.
Yeah. What's life like in Denmark? Are they outgoing people like the Swedes? Because my mum's Swedish, so they're very outgoing and live off the land. Always, a holiday is always building something or doing something in the garden. Are the Danes the same?
In general, yes, I would say so. Yeah. My family not so much.
Okay.
So it was and I can see that now. When you get older, I'm sure you do the same. A lot of things that I'm doing today, I can see this is exactly my pattern of my dad. I can see reflection.
Yeah.
Sometimes it scares me a little bit, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
My dad was all about the business, making sure that everything was. He took really well care of us. I have 2 brother and a sister, and my mother, of course. And he did everything he could to make sure we had a good life. And that was his 24/7. It really was. So he wasn't. He liked football as well, but he wasn't active. He wasn't going to the gardens or going out as such. If he went out, it was because there was some kind of relation to the business or to football. Those are 2 main reasons.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was your curiosity in business stemmed from your listening to your dad?
Absolutely.
And so when you left school, was that what you wanted to do? Was to run your own business, or what was going through your head?
So I wasn't really that structured in my school of thoughts. I knew that I would do something. I liked what he was doing. So I was sitting with our version of FT when I was 10, 11. I made my own account, so I was investing.
Really?
But just on paper.
Yeah, absolutely.
And probably lost more than I won, but it was good fun. And I did that for probably 3 or 4 years. But that helped me get understanding of businesses and what happens and why things happen the way they are. And it was quite interesting. He never really helped that. He did investment on the real life, but so we had a little bit to talk about regarding that. I think the idea was, of course, that I was supposed to come in and take over the business at some stage. So it was kind of always in the cards. And my first job was in his company.
So that was, how do you pronounce it? Halaga?
Halaga, yes.
That was your dad's company?
It was, correct.
Superb.
That is my middle name as well.
Is there any meaning behind it?
Just the name.
Okay.
I'm sure there's all our names have some kind of meaning. I have no clue.
Exactly.
No specific.
Okay.
An acre is something that comes off a tree, and not. But I don't know if it got any meaning to that. But
right,
it's a name.
Okay. So what was it like working for your dad?
Tough. It really was tough.
Why?
You have to do twice as much work and get half the price. It's really true. I joined the company. I was 18. And I came back from a trip with a friend to the US where we're going to take over the world. and we spent all my pocket money in 3 months and came back with empty pockets. And I said, Dad, I need a job now. And he knew that going to happen. So I joined the company as a site supervisor. And I didn't get a desk in the office for the first 6 months.
Wow. Okay.
There was a bookcase behind the guy I was reporting into. And the story is that when I knew all the books, I read all the books that were on the bookcase about construction, about the regulations and all those kind of things. The desk was mine.
Wow. How long did that take you?
6 months.
6 months? Wow. Did he, what?
It was all super unfair. I hated it.
So how did he test you? Was there,
no,
or he just listened to you?
He listened, yeah. And I wasn't directly reporting into him, but of course we still talked about it in our spare times at home and stuff like that. But the people I was kind of working closely with, I reported into, they made sure that I understood what I was doing. So it was important for him that I wasn't just the owner's son that coming in and think he could do whatever he wanted to do. I got a fairly big job in the beginning, actually, from start, where I was running a number of teams on different construction sites, which also back then meant that I was negotiating the rates and what they could earn on different jobs and stuff like that. And I was 18. Some of them was 40, 50 years old, and they've been doing this more than half their life. So it took a little bit of a gamble from his side, but I think we make the best out of it.
But what great learning to have to do that and to, understand different age groups, how to communicate, etc. And you're picking that up kind of subconsciously.
I had benefit of since I was 13, maybe 14. I was every weekend, every holiday, I was out working on sites.
Oh, okay.
I never had a school holiday. I never had a weekend where I didn't work.
Wow.
So from 14 to 18 till I ran away to the US and spent half my money. So that was kind of it also got me to understand what different people are doing on site and how the people that are working in the team that I was dealing with actually worked. We're talking about late 80s. Construction site, late 80s, were very different than today.
Well, no, you just reminded me of Our Vitasane Pet. Did you ever see that?
No?
Where it was English workers that were, would go to, so it would follow like a group of 6 to 8 from Newcastle, all around the UK, and then they went over to Germany to do construction, and it was fascinating because it was always following these different personalities, and I'm sure there must have been some personalities on the
very interesting people.
Absolutely.
So it comes back to something that I found out later, of course. I learned to love people. I really like to work with people. I don't really care what they're doing. If they're sweeping the floors or the board of directors, I liked interacting with people. And that was kind of something I learned very early on from 13, 14 years old. When I came out and I worked with these guys, I was the owner's son, and they treated me like, they made sure I didn't get any freebies while there was hard work.
They made you,
They made sure, and I'm sure that the old man had told them, there's no free passes, right?
Yeah.
So once I burned my hand, and I thought, that's it. All 5 fingers, I burned it. And I thought, we go to the hospital. And the guy said, well, there's only 4 hours left before we can go home. So I think you put your hands in a bucket of water, and then you can go down and you can pick up papers and stuff like that with the other hand till we go home.
No. Okay. Wow.
That was schooling.
How did your hand react? Because I burnt my hand.
It took a few months before the skin came back.
Yeah. Did you have it bandaged up?
Yeah.
But when the skin was growing back, would it grow through? Because
no, it's fine.
No.
No.
I had
blisters and stuff, but besides that, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So your dad, was he a people's person as well?
Yes, very much indeed.
So you learned that as well?
Could talk to everybody about anything. He came out of, his mom was a single mother to 7, lived in a very small apartment in our house. So he kind of learned to work hard himself from day one, and all his brothers and sisters as well. So nothing was taken for granted, nothing was given, and that's kind of how we were brought up as well.
Yeah.
Even though we were fortunate a bit later in life to have a good life, and our dad took care of us and stuff like that, he always reminded us that, don't take it for granted. So, and that's still with me today. It really is.
I'm just curious about your educational. So you left school, what, after, I don't know what the...
High school.
So A level.
Yes, correct.
That kind of level.
Yeah.
And then you went straight into your family business.
Correct.
So you were made to learn the books on the shelves. Were you always, keen to learn more? Were you always looking to learn more, or how?
Practical learner.
Okay.
Not theoretical learner.
Okay.
I was practical learning. I learned best by doing things, and of course reading about them at the same time. So I've always been very curious, and I do like to read, especially a bit earlier in my life. But I like the practice of it. I like to test it.
But when you were at school, were you a grade A student, or were you kind of average?
Middle of the road.
Okay.
Middle road.
So, but when you're learning, is it more a visual, as you say, it's more the practical side? Were you someone that could retain the information given to you, or you just...
I was pretty much like, if I couldn't see the purpose of it,
it didn't...
What's the problem?
Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe without me knowing it, I probably knew what I was going to do. So if it didn't fit somehow within that frame, I wasn't as receptive. So geography was probably not one of my favorite subjects, just an example.
No, I was terrible at geography.
Yeah, and you got maps and stuff like that. Now, of course, you don't need anything. But back then we had maps. I could find my way around. So, but yeah, I think the whole learning to learn is a good thing, and I of course adapt that later in life. But it was never really in the cards for me to go to university at that stage. It was kind of into the family business, and that was it.
So how long were you involved with the family business before you decided to, now's the time to spread my wings?
But the sad story about that is that I worked with them for a number of years, of course, and my dad got sick. He got cancer, and over a period of 10 years, he got 10, 11 operations, and at the end, it killed him.
Wow.
But also what it did, it changed him as a man completely. And I saw that in front of my eyes. I saw him change completely from being that very large, strong-minded person that he was running his own business to actually be very fragile and almost not knowing what he was doing. And at some stage he had a partner in the company. He had to sell it to the other partner and leave the business. And then I was actually forced to go and find some other job.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No, I'm just curious, when your dad found out that he had cancer, did you see a mental shift within him as well? Because,
Yes.
For a man, we all live, we're all very, it's all about physical, it's all about mental strength, physical strength. And then when you have something like that affect you, it can be really soul destroying because, the person that you've created or, built suddenly isn't there anymore. And, you're,
And that was it for him, right?
Yeah,
That was exactly what he spent the last 20, 25 years
absolutely
doing.
it's just like taking the rug out from
Absolutely.
yeah,
It was all he knew, if you want to say it like that. And he wanted to build something, I'm sure, to pass it on, but also to make sure we had a good life. And he did. And all of a sudden he couldn't do that anymore. And that was eating him up.
No, I can imagine.
He was very bitter, which is natural. I fully understand that today. Probably didn't appreciate it in the same way back then. And also because it's come very gradually. Over 10 years, it happens, slowly. But
And was there frustration? Would it come out in anger and stuff like that?
I think he was more angry himself.
Right.
Not so much with us, but we had periods where we didn't talk too much. But he liked to interfere in other people's life, including mine. And at that stage, I started having my own family and my wife back then, and he was always good at giving advice to what we shouldn't do. At some stage that became too much. So we kind of had a break for a couple of years where we didn't speak too much. And that's even more tough when you see him. When I then picked up with him again, he was really poorly.
No, I had the same. My dad had picked up an illness in a hospital, MRSA, and literally I just, over 30 years, just saw him get worse and worse and worse. And, it's like he went into himself. So, there wasn't much communication, as you say. And there, when he was really down, because you see the person and they look quite fine, but you don't know what's going on inside. You don't know the pain or,
I think the benefit, if we can say that, is that half his throat was removed, and so there was kind of visual. It was very clear that he was not doing well. He lost some of his hair and chemotherapy, and he had 3 tumors in the brain.
Oh, wow.
So that took kind of the last out of him. So that was tough for the whole family, of course. Just to make it worse, as he was getting worse and worse, my mom got cancer in the stomach and died within 2 months.
Oh, no.
So that's kind of completely destroyed him. Completely
No, I
destroyed
can imagine.
him. Yeah.
Because was your mum like the rock?
Absolutely. She became that. She was always the support, played the supporting role, and he couldn't do anything wrong in her world. She could not, whatever he did, he was always right. All of a sudden, because he changed, she had to become the rock of the family. And both my brother and my sister was very much attached to the family because they're younger than me. So that of course killed that.
So what's been your driving force, moving forward,
But I think that when you learn to have those values about, that things, nothing come easy, take nothing for granted, you kind of always have that in you. And I think that's one of the things I've been really, really happy afterwards that I had. I sometimes wonder if I have passed that on to my own kids enough, especially the 2 bigger ones. They probably had a little bit too soft life, or a little bit too easy life, because I was very fortunate to have good jobs, and living in Dubai or living whatever, you become really spoiled in life, and you've got people to do this, that, and the other for you, and that's not life, not everywhere.
No.
But I have to say they cope very well. They're both, doing really well in the adult lives now. So I'm very happy with that.
No, absolutely. So you left the family business. You went on. What was it like leaving something like a family business to go into a business that?
It was actually a little bit refreshing.
Really?
Yeah.
So what did you? Why?
So it was a family business. I then came in. If you check kind of in the big chunks, I joined a company called Velox or Velfac, and Velfac was a super professional company, very very well run, and probably one of the best sales organizations I've ever seen. And so I learned a lot from that. I really liked the challenges they gave. I had a couple of jobs before that where I was working with smaller companies trying to build houses and always within construction and related to construction. And they were fun to be part of, and it was a good stepping stone to what I did later. But it wasn't really giving me what I wanted. It was too small, it was too fragile, it was more small businesses run by families than what I was used to. So when I joined Velox or Velfac, it became a proper career, if that makes sense. I could see here I could actually stay and learn something.
So what was Velfac's? What was
so they're the largest manufacturer of windows and roof lights in northern Europe. Building materials again.
Still building materials.
But very focused on specific products, and they're focused on quality. It was just like focus kind of, it just went through the entire organization. Still a family-run business.
Okay, but on a larger scale.
But on a very large scale.
Yeah.
7,000-8,000 people employed and stuff like that. So I came in and was trying to be measured against peers, not being the son of the owner anymore. And I actually enjoyed that. I liked that. It was pretty good. And I was very fortunate that fairly early on I was promoted into good positions, and I enjoyed working. I also enjoyed working hard, and I kind of they appreciated that.
And you mentioned that you learned about sales. Was that? Did you feel you already had a kind of a natural attribute in?
No, no, actually no. The fact that I like to interact with people, I suppose.
Well, that's why I asked.
But I really don't like sales and sales. That's what I see as sales. If you can.
Yeah, but are you saying about sales in the old-fashioned sales?
Yes. That was still talking early 90s, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That is still the old-fashioned sales.
A little bit old guys here, right? Yeah. And that's how they did. But what happened when I joined Velfac was that they flipped it all on the backside. They actually didn't focus on the results. They focused on the efforts. And that sounds very strange to a lot of people.
Yeah.
But they firmly believe that if you are doing the right effort, you will get the result.
Absolutely.
Which is true.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen any other sales organization where they say, I don't care how much you sell for. No. If you do all the right efforts, you will get there. And trust me, it worked.
Yeah, so literally what they're saying is if you build a quality product,
yes,
then you don't need to go out and do a hard sell.
And if you as a sales organization, so we had the manufacturing part and now responsible for the sales organization. If you go and you sit with the right customers, if you treat them right, if you build the right relationship, if you become part of the organization, so you become their specialist within a specialized product, you don't have to sell.
But that is sales today, though, isn't it?
It is today.
But
it wasn't back then.
No, absolutely. No. That's amazing.
And the first sales budgets we had was not measured on how much you get out of the other end. It was measured on how many visits you do, what kind of visit, all those kind of things, which I thought was absolutely completely crazy. When I saw it first time, I said, what are you guys doing?
So what?
And after 6 months, I said, I'm convinced. Yeah. This is how to do it.
So that was their metrics? They looked at just how many meetings you went to, how many...
Was the right meetings?
Yeah.
They did something was really clever, and I've used it later on. They do a kind of they had sales meeting, one-to-one sales meeting, but it was actually half mentoring. So junior sales guys, senior sales guys, they all got mentoring.
Oh, superb. So they believed in that whole mentoring.
They did.
Wow.
But they didn't call it that because that was a little bit fluffy, a little bit flip-flop, and
Well, what did they call it?
It was just normal one-to-one sales meetings. Yeah. Still men, right? We cannot go consultants route here.
Yeah.
So that was how it was, and it worked, and I brought that with me jobs afterwards. That took me to the UK. That job took me to the UK.
So it was still with the same company, but they went. Yeah. Did they branch out to the UK while you were there?
No. They had a very fairly large organization there actually, but for some reason, the guy who was running it, who I thought was a really sharp guy, there was a little bit of friction between him and the ownership, and they were kind of. I think I was initially sent over there to find out what that is going on, right? Because it wasn't going as well as it should in the UK. So I went over there, and I worked hand in hand with this guy. He also had to be Danish guy, and
he was Danish.
Yeah, and he worked for them for 14 years when I joined.
Oh, okay.
So I knew the group CEO, and so I thought, he's fine. But 8 months after I joined, he was asked to leave.
Yeah, but isn't that difficult that you're sent over there to find out what's not?
Well, that was not the official explanation, of course. We got to send a spy out there. No, it was, of course, they needed a COO that came over and support his fine work. That was kind of He was a clever guy. He understood what was going on.
Yeah. He knew. Yeah. He knew his time was up. So what was it like moving over to? You've been in Denmark for most of your young life. Yeah. What was it like to?
Loved it. Yeah. Loved it.
And that was based in Cambridge?
Cambridge, yeah.
What can you not like about Cambridge?
Exactly.
It's very quaint. It's very...
I went over there at Christmas, 1999.
Okay, tick the box for...
And I worked, and I drew into Cambridge City, and I called my wife back then, and I said, we're moving.
Oh, wow.
I haven't seen the office. I haven't met anybody. I saw Cambridge in the Christmas lights.
You fell in love.
We're moving.
Okay.
So, amazing city, of course. And some amazing people as well. But it was interesting. So, moving the family, my 2 kids back then did not speak one word of English. So, they were put in a school. Luckily, there was a school in the middle of the city that took all the professors' kids from the universities. There's 2 universities. So they're used to kids coming from Spain and all over the place. So not everybody spoke English. So
and
it was fun.
What about you for your English? How did you learn your English?
So it's kind of because I always watched movies and football and stuff. It's always been there. Mm-hmm. I suppose it's been a little bit improved a bit over the years, but it's always been there. I didn't have any issues with it. I was fine. In school, I was actually fine in language. So that was okay. My wife back then, not so much. So she learned fairly quickly.
I'm just curious, growing up in Denmark, because I know in Sweden they would have American movies, American sitcoms, programs, etc., and everything was just subtitled, so you could always hear the language. Was that the same in Denmark?
At that stage, yes. Initially, when I was younger, we had 1 channel.
Well, I know. I think in Sweden they only had 2 channels.
Yeah, and we watched them. So when I moved from Aarhus to Copenhagen, which I did when I was 14. One of the benefits was we could see both Swedish channels. So that was kind of there was a Saturday night entertainment there. But yes, of course, it came through the movies. We were very much intrigued by everything that came from the US. Not so much the UK as such, but from the US. Yeah, but because I liked the culture of football, and at that stage, the pubs and all those kind of things. Yeah, it was really it was fun for me. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, because we were just speaking before the show that you're a Liverpool fan.
Yes. How
did that come about? Why? How did you attach yourself to Liverpool?
It's a really good question. I believe that the true story is that I always been a goalkeeper myself.
Oh, really?
And Ray Clemens was a very, very, very good goalkeeper from Liverpool, for Liverpool. So I think that might be it. I think it might be it.
It was his.
He was his.
Did you have the same kind of style as Ray Clemens? Is that?
No, he was long and lanky, and I was a little bit more round. But yeah, and I think that just, and then I just stuck with it, and of course we were lucky as well. 70s and 80s was fantastic for us.
Oh, that was their heyday, wasn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
Later, maybe not so much, but we're coming back now, and we'll see. Yeah.
No, haven't they? They had a good period.
Yeah,
no. Salah and,
absolutely. No. I loved it. I will. It doesn't matter. I am a Liverpool supporter. No matter what.
Are you part of a Liverpool community here?
No.
No, you don't.
No.
Have you ever been?
No.
Okay. Mm. So, working in Cambridge, and you worked there for. How long were you there in Cambridge?
I think I was in Cambridge working for these guys for 5 years, 4.5, 5 years.
Yeah.
And then we were supposed to move, actually 4 years, because we were supposed to move back to Denmark.
Yeah.
I got a job back in Denmark.
With the same company?
No, with a different company.
So why did you feel it was time to move?
The contract was 4 years.
Okay.
And it was kind of, the family has agreed it was 4 years. So I started looking for another job. I found a very good position as a CEO for a similar type of company, but smaller, back in Denmark. I started there before the family moved back. I started there for 2 weeks. And
2 weeks?
Yeah, and I called my wife and said, "This is a big mistake.
Why? What
We couldn't adjust. We couldn't adjust back to the day. Even after 4 years, it didn't fit right for me. Maybe the company, it was again a small company out in the farm country, and we came from Cambridge and Newcastle, and
where everything's happening. And
yes, and it just didn't sit well. So I said, let's try and see if there's something that can make me stay. One of my colleagues from the company I worked for called me and said, "I understand you in Denmark. This is the first 2 weeks I was there. Come and see our office for this company that I'm working for, called EJB." I said, "Okay, sure, absolutely." So I went over there. Amazing offices, beautiful offices, and they did a trick on me because
where were they located?
They were located in Jutland, so the mainland of Denmark. Excuse me. And had amazing facilities, production facilities, nice people. And when we finished the tour, the whole board was there.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So you got like the red carpet?
I got the red carpet. We got herring and snaps. So
wow.
You know what to do, right? What to do. So I said, "No, sorry, I already committed to this other job, so I can't. But it's really nice of you to think about me." And the chairman said, "Go home, speak to your family, let me know what we're talking about, price-wise, because we think that you can do the job for us in Newcastle." So they had a factory in Newcastle.
Oh wow! And this is still construction there?
Still construction.
Okay.
It was actually prefabricated bathrooms, so it's modular bathrooms, which was very new back then. I went back and I spoke to my wife back then, and I said, "These guys they're serious." And she said, "Put some silly number, and we'll see how serious they are." I did, and within an hour they called and said, "We'll send the contract tomorrow."
Oh wow!
And
how did you feel though? Okay, wife says
awful.
Put it.
I felt awful. No, I felt awful. I'll tell you why. Because the poor family that I worked for 2 weeks had waited 6 months to get me.
Oh no!
My notice period. I came. I was there for 2 weeks. The family could not be nicer to me. They could not be nicer to me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, I couldn't even go to them and resign. I sent them an email.
No,
I'm not proud of it.
Well, you were young.
Yeah, but still, it was. To this day, I wish I could meet the guy. He's probably no longer around because he's still a gentleman. But I really didn't like that. That's not me. That's not my values. But I just couldn't do it. So anyway, I accepted this job. Took up to Newcastle and took over a Dunlop factory that we had re-engineered to become a modern factory for modular construction.
And Cambridge, Newcastle.
Yes.
There is a complete, difference of, culture.
Black and white.
Absolutely.
Black and white.
So what was it like? I know we had a conversation before the podcast, but, when you said that you worked in Newcastle, it was just like, did you understand what they were saying?
and being a Dane, we actually understand more than most of the Brits.
So then we discussed that. Yeah, some good old Vikings.
There was some Viking blood still there.
Yeah,
and still I think there's 1,000 or 1,500 words that they're using up there that actually stole it and twist a little bit around from Danish. So it's still there.
And your wife was able to cope, because she was learning English when you went to Cambridge.
She was probably playing the supporting role.
Okay,
if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But the school we got for the kids was really good, so everything was really nice. And we lived in the city that all the footballers are living from Newcastle.
Oh, okay. That didn't bother you.
The things, well,
being a Liverpool supporter.
I'm now my second team is Newcastle, of course.
Isn't it funny when you move around? You do have your first, your second, your third.
You need to have relationship to the place, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And again, I don't really have a relationship to Liverpool other than. It was my first love, yeah.
Yeah.
So Newcastle became quickly, and I loved it. I loved the people there. It was absolutely amazing people.
The most friendliest people ever.
I think we've been there for a week, and then we were pulled up on the street, and the whole street has got together, and we went into every single house and spoke to every single person, and their kids and our kids, and it was amazing.
Yeah, no.
That took a couple of years in Cambridge.
Yes. No, exactly.
Yeah.
No, it takes longer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
People up north are very friendly, and they're your friends straight away.
Yeah.
Where down south, it takes a long time to.
And I really didn't like that they were looked down upon. If we're being honest, if you come from London, if campus, moving to Newcastle was like, okay, if you can't do anything else, are you sure you'd probably rather be unemployed in Cambridge than move to Newcastle, right? That's kind of the attitude.
Yeah.
I loved it.
That's
We
snobby.
loved it.
Yeah.
We loved it up there.
Superb.
Funny enough, that took me to the Middle East.
Yeah. How did that happen?
So I was running this business in Newcastle for modular construction, and this is we're coming to a construction boom in the Middle East, 2006, 2007, and the owners of one of the owning sons of Rashi Investment Group and Rashi Bank contacted us and say, we want to do something with you guys. We like the concept. Come to Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea what Dubai was. I had to look it up on the map. And we're going to build a city here. We need what you're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I was working for a family that was sitting over in Jutland of Denmark, very conservative, hardly been outside their own area. And they said, working with Saudi Arabia, with Saudi people, and no, we don't want to do that.
Oh, really?
So I went to 2 board meetings where I pitched the idea, and they said no. And one day I was told that engineer Faisal, who was one of the sons I later were reporting into, wanted to come and see the factory. And I said, I didn't ask anybody. I said, come and see the factory.
Yeah. Yeah.
I met him at the airport. He came, young guy, jeans and a leather jacket, and we went into the factory. And I said, I actually don't want to see the factory. I don't care about that. What I want to do is tell you that you've got a job, and the job is in Dubai. So pack your suitcase, come down. Come down to Dubai and come and see what.
I'm just curious, what's going through your head? Because you pitched the idea to the family. The family's not interested, so you can see there is a huge potential, and there is a market, and there's a boom.
Yeah.
And then you've got some guy flying in and saying, "Look, you've got a job."
And I was actually doing really well in Newcastle. We're doing the business, we're doing well, and the family was fine, and I had to mess it up, right? So. So I went to Dubai. My wife was probably not too happy about the initial thoughts about it, the Middle East.
Yeah, but did you go to Dubai just as a
explore,
just to see?
He said, "Come, we'll pay for you. Come and see what we're doing." They wasn't doing anything because I didn't have any factory. They didn't have anything. But he wanted me to come to Dubai. I thought I would be blown away by that. So I came to Dubai. I stayed there for a couple of days. It was okay. I was fine. I liked it. He picked me up in his Bentley. We went up to Ras Al Khaimah up north.
Mm-hmm.
Dropped me off in a Range Rover or something like that, I believe. And he took me out in the middle of the desert. And he said, "Can you see that camel over there?" And it's a true story. That camel over there, and that tree over there. Everything in between, that's our land.
Wow.
And this is why I wanted to build a factory. No water. No electricity, no road.
No, I'm just curious. Someone takes you. Okay, they pick you up.
Mm-hmm.
They give you the tour around, and they give flash cars, and then they take you to the middle of the desert. Is there not any part of you that's going, what is going on? Am I safe?
No.
You just
no.
That
wasn't there. That wasn't there.
You
No,
just went in it.
I wasn't concerned about my safety at any stage, but I was thinking, this is so unreal, and it's so different to anything I ever seen and done.
Well, I was going to say, were you used to the big cars, the flash cars?
No, of course not. No. So, but that wasn't actually doing it. It was just like, it was funny that he picked me up in that car, knowing that they couldn't actually go where we need to go, but he wanted to show it off.
Exactly. That's
He was 5 years younger than me.
Yeah.
He was the Arachi family. It's a big family. They got 60 kids. He's kid number 7 of wife number 1, so it's fairly important. So this is how it goes, as you know. So it was a big deal, and I thought this is crazy. Nobody can build a factory up here. Come on. And he said, you set your own team. These are the terms. We'll pay you all that. And I thought, that's not a bad salary. Well, hang on, I don't pay tax here either. Amazing. So
but was it always money that was,
No,
as you said before,
it was-
when you...
It was so crazy that it was really difficult to say no to. It was so crazy. It was like going out in the middle of the desert and there's nothing. And he wants to build a factory there. I said, we've got to try that.
Wow, what a challenge. Yeah, absolutely.
I called my wife there and said, we're moving to Dubai. And said...
And how did she take it?
Come home, we need to sell the house and do stuff like that. And we'll do that, of course.
No, because as you know, it's important that, anytime you're going to move to a new place, that it's important that you've got your wife on board with you. Because if that doesn't work, then you haven't got...
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
I think that... I don't know. I managed to sell that idea to her, and I think she liked to try something new as well, and she was okay with that. The kids didn't really know.
No, they generally,
they were fairly young
they're
still.
all with
So they were okay with that. So of course I invited them to Dubai, and they saw Dubai, and I took them to all the nice places, and as you do. And,
of course, absolutely.
And then we agreed. Okay.
So did you build the factory?
I did. I built a massive factory. I came with after 3 months. I came. First of all, I set my own team.
Yeah.
I took a couple of key people from my previous company, and I built up from other people, mainly Brits, to be fair, and then some local engineers and stuff like that. So we built a factory. I went to the board meeting and said, "See, this is the sketch for the factory." And they looked at it and said, "What's that?" That's a factory. Oh, that's a shed.
No.
Yeah.
It wasn't big enough.
The factory is like this. Come on, this is where we park cars.
No.
And it was big. I mean,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
coming from
yeah.
was bigger than my factory in
But
Newcastle.
it served what they wanted.
It wasn't what they wanted.
But it wasn't.
So he said, make it bigger. So I made it bigger. And then I showed him again. And I said, make it bigger.
Wow.
And then finally it was there. So
So what was the main learning from doing all that?
I learned to deal with sounds a bit harsh, but work with people who's got a completely different mentality than me. I couldn't assume anything. I couldn't foresee any meeting I went into. I wouldn't know what's going to happen. So I was kind of always prepared for a little bit of everything, and I wasn't still prepared enough for what's going to happen. And that's always like that in the meetings with these guys.
But as you said, you're a good people's person.
Yeah, but
so
the mentality from Newcastle to Riyadh,
yeah,
it's a little bit of a jump.
Yeah,
and these guys have more money than we can think of, right? And they're used to, especially when they're younger. They're used to get what they want, and they were not spoiled. To be completely honest, they were very humble. They were very nice. They treated me extremely well. When my family came, they made effort to come and see them, and so it was not like that. But it was very interesting. So we built the factory and start building.
What were you actually building? Because I know
modular construction.
Modular construction in everything, not just bathrooms. It was
mainly bathroom to start with, because
yeah.
that was kind of what they could do. The first project was that was done in Dubai. It wasn't done by us. Was with the Atlantis. That was done with modular construction, and then we start building, and it became a big success. And we start building and sending to Saudi Arabia, and that was a massive success. And today, I'm very happy to say that it's the largest of its kind in the Middle East.
Congratulations.
So we had an amazing team, really good people, and some of them are still there. I'm happy to say.
I'm just curious. How do you, gauge your success? What do you look at when you look back in your career? What are you, how do you pat yourself on the back?
I don't.
What key moments? You don't?
No. I don't. My current wife is extremely unhappy with me because I never, ever pat myself on the back. It could always be done a little bit better.
Do you not reward yourself with anything? Is there nothing that that?
I think my reward is that to see that again. I'm taking parallels back to my dad. Right, my family is doing well. I got 2 beautiful kids of the first marriage, and they're off and doing really well. And now I got a new one, and I'm sure he will do well as well. And I'm making sure that my wife she's got her own business. Bliss Flowers, I have to mention that, of course.
Bliss Flowers?
Yeah.
Okay, big shout out to Bliss Flowers.
Yeah, here in Doha. So she run that business. She got 3 showrooms here, so she's extremely busy and very happy with that. So I'm kind of probably get that feeling through seeing them succeed and having a good life.
So as long as people around you are happy
Yeah.
and you've created that environment, then you're happy, and that's your reward.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was never praised as a kid. That wasn't in the cards, right? So it was not something that came later in life. I think I'm good at doing it with my kids, I believe.
Yeah.
But the criteria for myself has always been very high. But that's how I've been growing, and that's how I'm doing what I'm doing, and I'm very happy with that. I don't have any self-pity. It is what it is. I enjoy what I'm doing. I'm very, very fortunate. If you look at what I've been doing in this region, working for Arashi, working for Ajaba Group, working for Alshaya, and now with Estithmar, I've been extremely fortunate. Extremely fortunate.
But that relates to my initial question: what drives you? Where is the? Do you set yourself goals of what you want to achieve in life? Is there, as you're getting older?
No, I do, but not in the sense. I know a lot of people say you have to set goals and measure them and all these kind of things. I probably do them in my head, and I know it's easy to cheat when it's only in your head. I can see that on my scale, but besides that, I kind of know what I want to do and what I can do, and every time I got a new job, including the one I'm in now, I'm doing stuff that I thought I couldn't do, but I now know I can do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So every single time I've been fortunate enough to be offered a different opportunity, I thought, I'm not sure I can do that, but I would like to try. And people have enough belief in me to give me the opportunity to try it. And I think I've succeeded in most of the things. Not everything, but most of the things I've been doing.
So what next? What is it? What are you looking? Or you just go with the flow?
No.
Wherever the offer.
No.
No?
That's it. If you ask me now if I would take another corporate job, no, I wouldn't.
Do you ever see doing something like your dad, where he set up his own business? Can you see yourself running your own business?
Yes, I could.
Yeah.
I could probably. I want to stay in this company in Estithmar as long as I can.
Yeah.
I really enjoy working there. I enjoy working with the people. It's an amazing team. I have a very good relationship with the owners. Even though we're a listed company, we still have majority owners, our chairman and vice chairman. And I report into the vice chairman, and I have a very good relationship with him, and I enjoy working. I learn from him. He's younger than me, but super smart. And I love learning still. That's probably never going to grow old. But yeah, eventually I can feel that that's coming back now, that maybe trying something by myself could be interesting at some stage.
Well, I can see it with all your experience and your knowledge. I can see it. I'm just curious. I just want to ask, when you have that relationship with the owners and they have a certain vision, and you've got the experience, you've got the wealth of experience of working within that industry, and they've got a vision that you don't see fits with your experience. How do you negotiate that in regards to, look, I can see where you want to go, but either it's going to take longer than you want it. How do you get around that?
I think so. When I joined the group I'm with now, my first meeting with the vice chairman was that we're going into healthcare. Never been in healthcare. I've been to the hospital, but never had anything to do with healthcare, and it's a huge investment. So I said, Mr. Ramsson, I've never done anything. I said, you and I, we will learn together. Fine. And trust me, we've done that. He's probably learned it quicker and more than I have, because he's extremely sharp, but I really enjoy that now, and it's a completely different organization type of industry that I've been traditionally working with factories and construction and trading and those kind of things. But again, that has pushed me to keep searching for learning more and keep being curious.
How do you learn? Do you just bring in the right type of people and you learn from them, or do you go back to the old books?
It's about team.
Yeah,
it's about team. Practical learning. And you need to have the right team. Doesn't matter where it is. Doesn't matter even if it's construction and you think you're good at that, or trading, or whatever you think you're good at. You can't do it all, and I certainly know I can't do it all. I need good people around me.
But then when you've got the basis for for construction. If you think construction is your solid platform to kind of work from, so you've got that knowledge to work from, and then any industry has to build on a solid foundation, and you, as you say, you learn as you're building that organization.
It's to do with people. Yeah, it is. And that's probably been the biggest learning curve for me, because the professionals that are in the healthcare sector is very different than the professionals that are engineers and construction sites that I've been used to. And that took a little bit of time for me to get used to the way that they are and their way of seeing things, and how autonomous they want to be, and they want to be doing their own things. And some of the doctors that are around, not specifically in our organization, believe that they're small gods, and that's you have to deal with that. But that's part of the fun. It's been extremely interesting. I love the journey since I've been with this company for 2.5 years now, and not 2 days are the same. I mean, you and I had to change around in the calendars a few times, and it's because it's really, it is like that. Very often when I get in the office in the morning, I don't know how the day's going to be exactly, because it will always change. And we are very much an entrepreneurial organization, even though we're a large organization. We're very much an entrepreneurial organization. Things happen. Boom, there's a meeting in the boardroom, and some people come in that they want to do a presentation, or we need to do the presentation for them. So of course the C-suite has to be there, and we show up and participate. So you're meeting a lot of very interesting people as well.
But that can be quite addictive, can't it? Where you don't know what's going to happen each day. That each day is an adventure. Yeah. That something can be thrown at you. A curveball here, there, and everywhere.
I do enjoy the quiet days as well, though. Days where everything went according to plan, and we have a lot of those as well. But
is that because you're getting older? You like those? You're enjoying those more.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm resting differently in myself now than I did when I was, younger, for sure. Where things happen to happen, and speed. Now I'm fine with having days where things are a little bit more, fewer meetings, but more quality.
And I'm just, I always say I'm always curious, but knowing what your dad went through, are you conscious of that if you didn't have the work, what would you do? If something happened and you couldn't do what you enjoy doing, because if you think this is,
No.
I
don't want to think that.
You're just going to keep going, and
I do try, and my wife is very, very good. She takes very good care of me, and she makes sure I stay as healthy as possible. And I get my vitamins, and we go for long walks, and she takes care of me. She makes sure I get the right food and stuff like that. So, but things can happen. Nobody can predict that.
No, I'm not saying in regards to your health, but just
I mean, we're taking some precautions, taking some financial precautions, of course, which is only natural. That my wife is younger than me. It was difficult to find anybody who was older than me. So
I'm the same. I've got a younger wife. Do you think that keeps you young
at
heart
absolutely,
as well?
Absolutely,
yeah, absolutely.
and just to take that as well, we met, and there's 21 years difference on us. And she said, before this goes anywhere, and I think this is our second date, I want a family. I know you had one. So what about that?
So she laid it down straight away.
Straight away.
If this is going to go any further, and it's going to take
fair play
my time,
right?
then
fair play.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But before
don't waste my time.
Emotions get involved, those
yeah.
kind of things.
Yeah.
Let's not play that game.
How did you feel when you were presented that?
So I said straight away, I'm fine with that. I was probably a little bit lying. Because I'm fine with that till I find out if this is right. But fortunately it was right, and I knew where she was coming from. I understand she was of course younger than me, so I understand that this is what she wanted, and if she wanted to hitch up with an old geezer like me, then there has to be a reason, right?
And is she Danish as well, or?
No, she's from Kazakhstan.
Oh wow. Has that been cultural?
No. She moved away from She moved from Kazakhstan to Russia, Moscow, where her family lives. She moved away from Russia when she was 16. She's educated within hospitality. Very independent. Very lived by herself or with partners since she was 16. So no, she hasn't been back since, and she's very much an international lady.
Yeah.
So sometimes she's the adult in our relationship. She keeps me on, especially when it comes to I want to fool around with a little guy, and enough is enough.
Yeah, go on.
Now it's time. No, we have a really good relationship, very good balance there, and it's for me it's been a blessing.
Superb. So looking forward to the future, I know we touched on it a little bit. Mental, physical health, ambition.
I want to get. So my son is 2 years old, and I want to be able to run after him when he's 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm actually on a course right now with the right food and the right training and stuff like that to look after my health better than I have. So that is kind of my ambition right now.
Because you said at the beginning about your routine in the morning and not answering the phone in the evening. Have you you're in charge of your time at the end of the day, really, that you can give yourself that.
Yeah. And I have the opportunity. I mean, we are at 18th Tower in Lucelle, and we got a gym in the ground floor, and I even have a VIP membership which I use twice. So I'm just myself to blame. So no, we agreed. I agreed with myself. Now it's time. I need to. And I can see now he's getting older, and he wants to do stuff and run around and playgrounds and those kind of things. And he don't want to do it without his dad.
No,
mom is mom, but he wants to do all these fun things with it.
Absolutely,
boy. I want to do it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be. Not now. I feel fresh and fine.
Yeah.
But 5 years, 8 years, who knows, right?
Exactly.
So it's about keeping that going, and that's going to be kind of the ambition going forward.
Super.
That I want to write a book. And at some stage want to look at how to start your own business at some stage. Maybe it's going to be a side business, maybe it's going to be something that's just for fun, but something that's get the adrenaline pumping a little again.
I'm curious, a book?
Yeah.
About what?
What we just talked about.
Okay. My life.
But not me as a person, but I've had so many fun experiences and curious incidents like the one where we went up to Russell Camel and looked at the sand and built a factory. The idea is to look at, I always been interested in leadership, strategy, people. So I want to build something around that, but then spiced with my own experiences. So kind of a little bit in that direction. So you can call it a leadership book, but not one of the dry ones. One of the ones where
but with stories in there, examples.
Anecdotes where you kind of laugh a little in between.
No, I can see a film. I can see a film where you're just standing in the desert and some guy says, look, I want to build a factory.
I don't know if you've seen a movie called The Holocaust Sales Guy.
Oh, was that set in Saudi Arabia?
Yes,
I did see that, where he just literally turns up and there's nothing, and then they build a building and he goes into admin and there's just loads of people and there's nothing.
Been there. I actually literally been there, but I've been there mentally in my life as well. Yes. Yes.
Who was it? It was a famous actor.
It was Tom Hanks.
Yeah, it was Tom Hanks. Yeah. No.
Happened to be a very famous Danish female playing the female character.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it was good fun. It was a horrible movie. It
was kind of
It was weird. It's weird. One of those
quite arty.
I'm sure they paid him a lot of money for doing that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But it's actually painted a very nice picture a very true picture of how Saudi was back then. It's not a movie.
Yeah, not now. Not now.
No.
Absolutely.
No.
Well, thank you, Henrik. It's been a pleasure having you on the podcast.
It's been my pleasure.
And I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
And I look forward to the book. I'll be buying. Send me a copy for me to.
I'll sign one.
Oh, we can have you on the show just to
promote it.
Absolutely.
Why not?
Yeah, for sure. So thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you much.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for watching. Just another big shout out to our sponsor, Mahaba, the #1 destination guide here in Qatar. Pick up your copy in the local supermarkets or go online to find out all the information you need to know about Qatar. Take care. Have a great week. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.